I wonder what happens if I prick my finger and sign this book with my blood. Yeah, that was a bad idea. Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Cardiac. For this particular video, I wanted to dive deep into the roots of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Where did it start and how did the series come to be, as well as some things that I think make this series very awesome. So first and foremost, let's find where exactly did the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina come from. Well, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is a alternate universe that lives within the Archie horror comic book series, which starts in 2013, written by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa. So he wrote an alternate reality where the town of Riverdale encounters a zombie apocalypse, and Sabrina has her own issue in this, where she has an envision between her and Jughead Jones, which kind of cites an idea that there's two continuities happening at the same time. This is where the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina comes in 2014, written by the same guy. In this version of Sabrina, you have Sabrina, her boyfriend Harvey, her aunts Hilda and Zelda, her cousin Ambrose, and her familiar feline Salem.
Such a pretty kitty.
But it is in this particular storyline that in the 1960s, Sabrina Spellman has to make a decision. At the age of 16, she has to decide whether she wants to be a full-blown witch or pursue a mortal life with her boyfriend Harvey. Now this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because there are two whole storylines within this world, and this is where the Netflix series starts the story and then continues going. So first and foremost, what I think I love about the entire series in general is the idea that you can take something that originally was a little bit more brighter, a little bit more after school specially. I'm looking at you, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. What it does do is give it a darker turn and really dives into the story property that it chooses to come from. And of course, we are talking about witchcraft, because witchcraft, while it seems very bright and cheerful and has some really great Harry Pottery things to it, there's also a lot of dark that comes within it as well. And that is where the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina does very well on. But what's also very nice as well is, while it still kind of maintains an after-school special lesson, but it does it in a very dark turn without really actually bringing it up again. It's more of just like this is the situation you put in, figure it out, without really having to be, well, I guess you should be nicer or things like that, which the Teenage Witch series is very guilty of. So if they're setting out to tell a new version of Sabrina, why did they choose to go down the dark route? What is the psychology behind it that makes it so successful? Well, I'm glad we're figuring this out. The reason why I think the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch is because you have to keep in mind that this particular series of Sabrina, at least the original Archie Comics version of Sabrina, lives within the 1960s, where not much was really happening except for maybe the civil rights movement and things like that, where we wanted to be more accepting of the people who were unique and different from everyone else. Whereas with the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is a post 9/11 world, where as much as we love fantasy, we like it to be rooted in real situations, which is why I think having Sabrina wanting to think things through is pretty great. It's what makes the character much more thought out and unique, and not just some cookie cutter character that someone wanted to just create to diverse the brand. And also, I think Chilling Adventures of Sabrina as well is not afraid to show us what witchcraft is like, similar into the way that maybe American Horror Story Coven tapped into, whereas with this one, it definitely does talk about familiars. It talks about what witchcraft would be more attuned with, and that is of course Satan. But while that is still definitely far into the idea of the dark, there is, again, a little bit of realism to it, and the idea that how far are you willing to go to devote yourself into what you choose. Hopefully that made a little bit sense. Fair warning, there is a little bit of a spoiler alert here, so I'll include a time code if you will. So in Chapter 7, Feast of Feasts, the Feast of Feasts is basically a celebration of the one witch who decides to sacrifice herself to save her other witches by allowing them to kill her and feast on her body and her organs. However, Sabrina doesn't think that this is necessarily right, so she talks to Prudence, tries to reason her out of it, and of course she willingly admits that she will do anything for her coven because it's a tradition to honor the Satan and to of course be at his side because she willingly gave herself up and be the queen of the feast. Of course, we learn that this is not exactly the case, as because the reason why Prudence was picked to begin with was because High Priestess's wife did not like that Prudence was High Priestess Faustus's daughter. This is a really great study in how far someone's willing to go. And if you really look into the past, especially within cults, you will find that there are people who don't ever question what they're doing, what they're proving through. Another great example of this in real world is, of course, Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate was just believing that the meteor passing Halley's Comet was of course, their ship waiting for them to come back. And they didn't think anything of it, they never questioned it, they just did it. And so I think that's really smart to really show that people can and do believe things without ever questioning it. Of course, in Sabrina's case, she's choosing to stay between the mortals and the witches, and so her thought process is more of why do we do this, which I think is a very smart idea as well. So in conclusion, I just want to say I love this series. While still loving what the Teenage Witch series has to offer, the Chilling Adventures definitely does live against what the graphic novel came to be and really dives into what is witchcraft like and where does it come from, and really understanding using human thought process to decide why do we do the things that we do. And that's why I love Sabrina as a character, is because she doesn't really she asks questions. She wonders, where does this come from and why do they do the things that they do. And so overall, I think it's a very fantastic series, and if you have not seen it, I beg you, watch it. It's so amazing. So leave in the comments down below, what were some of your thoughts about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina? I would like to start a conversation and see where we go with this. And if you like this new series and you like where we're going with Cardiac, please do not forget to subscribe down below. And again, leave a comment if you like where we're going with this. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, my name is Forrest, and I'll see you in the shadows.